It's finally warm enough to film outside, so I thought I would go back to walking and talking with you. I won't be walking too much, but before we get into our discussion, let's just get something to drink. Today I want to try this place, the 18 Feet, and the Chong Toronto. I don't know if I could film inside, but let's see. Alright, so I got the grapefruit chong. It looks very refreshing. Yeah, so let's just head to, I think there's like a Allan Gardens close by. Alright, so, oh, and the top is really nice. There's a grapefruit thing. I have no idea where this Allan Gardens is. What looks like it's a garden that I've been missing out on, even though I live here. Even though I've been living here for my entire life, I've never been to Allan Gardens. At least I don't remember going. So that's where we're going today, so that we at least have some nature to look at, because that's the topic of our video, kind of. I want to talk about rest and how rest is actually a non-negotiable. But I think because of our modern lifestyles and electronic devices, we've kind of changed how we view rest. You know, before the internet. Oh my god, I don't think I could talk here. Anyway, let's just. Oh my god, a beautiful church. I did not know this church existed. Wow. It's just my style of church. Beautiful, decorative, Gothic windows. Let me just, yeah, look at that. Is it so pretty? I wish we had more, like, church architecture for other types of buildings as well. Alright. Oh man, it's a beautiful church. Well, I can't really incorporate like these church designs, architectural designs to other buildings. Like, I want all my buildings, I want all the buildings to have like these characteristic designs where, you know, there's brick, there's Gothic windows, decorations. I think people have had enough of the glass and the steel and the minimalism. Oh, okay, yeah. Now I know why. I think I know why I didn't come here before. I mean, you probably are. So, it looks like I didn't come here before because it was since it's a kind of sketchy, I wouldn't say sketchy, there are teepees there and, you know, shelters. So I like how they did the teepees and the shelters. So it's not that sketchy actually. Yeah, but I've never been inside the Allan Gardens, so let's just head inside and talk there. Alright. Just trying to mix this drink. Okay, there's an old style chimney. Okay. Let's enter. Yeah. Cool. Okay, it's very hot in here. I think that perfectly encapsulates the topic of today. So, oops. So, oh my god, look at the turtles. So many turtles. Hey, little guy, you can do it. You can do it. Yeah, he did it. I will oversee our business. I feel like I'm still French. These look like passiflora flowers. I think they're passiflora. They're good for like sleep, if you're sleep deprived. Lead statue. Leda and the swan. Zeus transformed into a white swan to get close to Leda. So it's okay to appear more feminine to get close to women is what Zeus is trying to say. Oh, this is a mostly flowery garden section. Oh, look at those. Those are really interesting. Interesting pine leaves. Oh man, if I can only like correctly adjust my camera properly. It's a process though, it's a process. Oh, look at that cute little bird flower. Flower bird bed. Flower bird. Wow, so pretty. Oh, there's a little stream going on over here. And there's also a little, like, waterfall situation. That's how it looks like. Oh, we can't exit through there, so I guess we'll just go back the way we came. Pineapple garden. Interesting. Did you know passiflora were like vines that were dangling down like this? I didn't know that passiflora was a dangling vine flower. Okay, let's continue. Alright, let's just go through here. There's another garden looking thing over there. Oh, and how do I get to this big part? It was closed off somehow. Maybe I need to go in the other direction. Look at the nice trees. Oh my god, that scared me. Alright. Oh, there's another church over here. That's nice. Alright, so that big greenhouse thing looks like the main garden area. And I want to see what's inside the big dome, but it looks like it's closed off. Let's take a look around, I guess. Oh, pretty daffodils. Are they daffodils? They look like daffodils. Nice colors. Oh, it looks like there's construction going on. Oh, I found the perfect bench for us to sit and talk with. I found the perfect bench to sit where we can talk together. Isn't that cute? Alright, so I hope no one sits by the time I sit there. Please don't sit, please don't sit, please don't sit. Yay, we get to sit here. Alright, let's just have a look at the view before we talk. Alright. Alright, so we finally found a bench to sit on with the lovely greenhouse at the back over there. I couldn't get into the main dome, but it's fine. And they actually started live music right now, right when I wanted to start talking. So I don't know if it'll be too much of a distraction, but hopefully it's not. Anyway, so I got the grapefruit. I got the grapefruit chunk. It tastes pretty good. I don't know if it's worth the price. It was $8, but it is like subtly sweet, and it has a nice grapefruit flavor. It also has like sparkling water in it, and there's a nice there's a nice slice of grapefruit over there. So it's a great drink, but it's definitely a treat yourself drink. So anyway, I wanted to talk about rest. Now, we all know that rest is important, but I think a lot of us try to negotiate with rest. I definitely do. We always like put it off for later, and even when we do rest, it's more so of like looking at an electronic device, scrolling on your phone, watching TV shows, watching movies, and like you're still using your brain. Your brain is still having to process information. You're not really resting when you're watching something or playing something or using your electronic devices in any way. So we really have to prioritize rest in every way. There are multiple different types of rest, but I've been really struggling with resting lately. Like, ever since I started, implementing my work schedule, my routine, I feel like even though I tried to put rest into my routine, I'm still struggling with resting properly. And that's really affecting not only my mental health and capacity, but it's also like just draining me physically and emotionally. And I feel like not resting enough is actually stunting my creativity. Ideas aren't flowing as smoothly as they could, and we hear the statement a lot, like, we need to rest. I think a lot of people online tell us to rest, but when we hear that statement, we usually feel triggered by it. Like, at least I do. Like, whenever I heard someone online say, "Oh, you need to rest. You need to prioritize rest." Before, when I was doing nothing for 4 years, whenever I heard that statement, I would think to myself, well, I'm already resting way too much. I actually have to do the opposite of rest. I actually have to implement stuff and actually take action. So my problem wasn't resting. My problem was not acting enough. And so the statement of "you need to rest" triggered me, because I would think, well, I don't have time to rest anymore. I have to act and actually progress. So I thought rest was unimportant for me. I thought I didn't have to rest. But in actuality, even though I had to take action and my problem was more so not taking action, I still didn't rest deliberately. I still didn't rest in ways that would actually rejuvenate me and refresh me and energize me, right? My form of rest was just scrolling on my phone, playing video games, watching movies, TV shows. That is not rest. That is not deliberate rest. We need to rest. We need multiple different types of deliberate and intentional rest to actually reset and actually refresh and energize and process all our thoughts and emotions and information that we've gathered during the day, so that we can actually come up with fresh ideas, increase our creativity, increase our brain power, increase our mental energy and productivity. So regardless of how triggered you are, regardless of what triggers you have when you hear the statement, you need more rest, we really do. Regardless of whether you're working too much or too little, right? When you hear the statement, you need to rest, you might be thinking, I don't have any time to rest. I have to work more. There's so many things I have to do, so I don't have the luxury or time to rest. But really, rest is an essential part of productivity, right? Without rest, you don't have the mental energy or capacity or cognitive abilities left to actually be productive. So even if you have a lot of work to do, even if you have a demanding job, rest is essential to be more productive, to be more creative, to be on your game so that you can actually produce and create quality work, quality output, right? So our modern society has kind of changed how we approach rest. I think before the internet, before electronic devices, before radio, we had no choice but to have deliberate rest when we weren't working, right? We would look around, we would walk around in nature, look at trees and birds and plants, and even if we weren't deliberate about it, we would still get the rest we needed to reset our mental, emotional, physical, physiological states, right? So, we used to get a lot more rest unintentionally before the internet and electronic devices. So right now, what we perceive as rest is still not rest because we're just using our electronic devices to kind of numb ourselves and escape from the work that we're trying to do. And, watching YouTube videos, listening to music, watching movies, playing games, these still take up RAM, right? These still take up processing power in our brains, and our brains don't get any rest, actually. So how should we rest? And recently, I've noticed that I haven't been able to rest in many different ways, right? I'm not sleeping enough, so I wake up tired, and then I force myself to work and do my tasks for this channel, and then because I wake up late from the lack of sleep, my work ends up getting shifted to later in the day, and that means I'm working until a later time, and I even have to work after dinner sometimes, and when that happens, I don't really get any deliberate rest between my tasks and during the day, so that means I get less rest after work. And I'm guilty of also not resting by pretending to rest by scrolling on my phone and looking at my screen. So even after I work, I end up quote unquote resting by looking at a screen for entertainment purposes, and that still isn't rest. So I end up not resting the entire day, and because I don't rest at all deliberately, I end up feeling out of it. I end up feeling tired, and I've been having headaches these past few days, so even my body's just yelling at me to get my stuff together and actually rest properly. So in order to avoid constant headaches and Advil, I really have to deliberately rest throughout the day, after my work ends, and during the night by sleeping properly. So how should we rest, right? What kinds of rest do we actually need, and how should we put them into place? Now, that's really good, actually. I just needed to mix it. So, we all know that we need to sleep enough, right? So I think that's the foundational rest that we need to master first. We need to really stick to a good sleep schedule and sleep at least minimum 8 hours. I don't think anyone can feel refreshed with less than 8 hours, honestly. And personally, I need like 10 hours of sleep. It's really a individual thing. But so we need to get good quality sleep. That is our foundational form of physical rest. And during the day, while we're working, we really need to take a break every hour for like 5 minutes and stop looking at the screen, man. Like, looking at a screen on your 5-minute break is not a break. It's not a rest. You need to stop looking at the screen, get up from your desk, do some stretching, do some dancing, I don't know, jump up and down for 5 minutes, and like look around you, like do some side to side looking around so that you can activate your nervous system in a different way to actually calm your nervous system, because lateral eye movements actually stimulate the nervous system to calm down, to get into rest mode. So you actually have to, stop looking at a screen, look around you, look outside the window, and just like slowly move your gaze from left to right, right to left, and, look around, jump up and down, stretch, rest your eyes, rest your body by changing your position. We usually sit at a desk for the entire day and look at a single point on our screen, and we need to do the opposite of that to actually have deliberate rest. So we have to stop looking at a single point. We have to look laterally, look left to right, and move our body to actually have deliberate rest that leaves us feeling refreshed, energized, and just like resets our nervous system, our brain, our mind, our mental energy, right? So we have to do deliberate rest for 5 minutes like every hour or so while we're working. But other than that, after work, right, we need to dedicate at least like 1 hour to mental, creative, emotional rest, right? We just have to rest and reduce our cortisol levels. And deliberate rest for 1 hour after work also means you cannot be looking at a screen, right? We shouldn't be looking at a screen during this 1 hour of deliberate rest after work. That means we can take a walk in a park, in nature, around your neighborhood, and just, without music, just look around, listen to the birds, listen to the people around you, just be mindful. practice some mindfulness while you're walking and just let your brain rest. Let your nervous system calm down. Just live in the present moment and let your mind process all the information, all the thoughts you had during the day. Because our brains have limited RAM, right? Our brains need to rest in order to process all the information it received during the day. And cognitively speaking, we only have 2 to 3 hours of mental energy that we can dedicate towards deep work, right? And it's actually between like morning and like early noon. So we have about from like 10 a.m. to max 1 p.m. to actually work with high focus and high energy, right? And that means we have the most RAM in our brain. We have the most RAM during the hours of 10 a.m. to 12 p.m., 1 p.m., right? So we really have to use those hours, those morning hours, early noon hours, to actually focus on high focus, high energy, demanding tasks. And once we use up our RAM, we tend to decrease our quality of output. We tend to, be less productive, and that's just how our brain works. We can't demand the same RAM. We can't demand the same productivity and cognitive capabilities from our brain for the entire day. So after we put in the 2 to 3 hours of the mentally demanding work, we really have to rest in order to process all that information and to actually integrate the information and thoughts and data into our brain to store them and connect them in better ways. So rest is crucial for mentally demanding work, especially. If your work is creative or mentally demanding, like any tech jobs, creative jobs, your brain requires rest to process all that information and to actually come up with better ideas, right? So you do need to take a break, like for 5 minutes every hour, but after work you also need to take an hour off to just give your brain a rest, right? And have it process all the thoughts and information in the best way possible to actually give you better ideas, better productivity, better mental capabilities for the next day, right? So you can take a walk for an hour, you can meditate, you can just sit at a bench like me and like look around. But don't look at your phone, don't look at a screen, don't listen to music. Reading a book is still not resting. Like, reading a book sounds restful, but you're still processing information, right? You're still receiving new information from the book. So it still isn't deliberate rest. You still need to let your mind wander a bit, let your mind do its thing. Have thoughts come and go. And just relax, right? And being in nature is probably the best way to rest deliberately, because not only does nature allow you to be present in the moment and just like look around, listen to the birds, the wind, look at different things around you, it also lowers your cholesterol. It also, not cholesterol, it also lowers your cortisol and your stress levels. And the lateral eye movements that you're making in nature in order to take in the environment around you, in order to be mindful, resets your nervous system. It calms you down. And in the meantime, your mind is processing. Your brain is processing the information. Being in nature allows your mind to just wander and not focus on any specific thought, but just to let those thoughts pass. So we really just have to rest, right? I think we're so busy these days. And it's hard to rest for more than an hour, honestly. But so even if you have a very busy schedule, getting a good amount of sleep and then taking a break for 5 minutes every hour that you're working and actually looking around you, looking out the window, looking at nature, looking at people passing by, doing some stretching, doing some jumping, getting your body moving and your eyes moving and your mind wandering during those 5 minutes. And then after work ends, just taking 1 hour to just let your mind wander and process all the thoughts and information. And either walking around, sitting and looking around, meditating, doing some light stretching, yoga, doing some dishwashing, washing the dishes is very meditative. Doing some light housework, house chores during that 1 hour, just to let your mind wander, is essential, right? So the minimum amount of rest we should have is 8 hours of good quality sleep, 5-minute breaks every hour of work, and 1 hour of deliberate rest after work, where you're not looking at a screen, where you're letting your mind wander, where you're being mindful, where you're either doing, low intensity exercise like stretching, yoga, meditation, house chores, walking, right? Just deliberately resting. Those are the minimum requirements for high performance, actually, right? If we want to be performing at a high level, if we want to be productive, we need those minimum requirements of rest. And I've been struggling with that, but I really see the effect of not resting. So, I really have to put in the work to rest, right? Sounds contradictory, but I mean, I need to intentionally put in deliberate rest every hour for 5 minutes, and then 1 hour after work, and then actually sleep for 10 hours at night, so that I could be the most productive, most creative, most refreshed and energized version of myself I can be, right? So we just gotta rest, man. Even if you don't think you need rest, even if you think it's a luxury or you actually have to put more work in or whatever, you still need deliberate rest. We all do. And that starts with leaving our screens for a bit, right? We really have to be independent. We really have to look away from our screens and just live, just be for a while, so that we can live. Yeah, sure, go ahead.
I hope I'm not interrupting anything.
No, no problem.
Okay, thank you.
It's a beautiful day.
Oh, I asked for nicer.
Yeah.
It's getting harder to walk.
Yeah. When it's really hot.
On our way. Have a good one.
You too, take care.
You too, thanks.
That was a good break. So yeah. We might be thinking we're not doing anything by looking at the screen, but we really have to stop and actually do nothing from time to time. Every day. Not occasionally, but right. Yeah, so we really need to take the time and intentionally and deliberately do nothing. Actually nothing. Not just entertaining ourselves with the screen. And the more mentally, physically, emotionally demanding a job is, the more rest we need. Like non-negotiable. Yeah, so I really recommend researching different types of rest. I think there are like 7-8 different types of rest, and we should be intentional about resting in all different areas, in all different aspects, right? So that we can actually optimize our day, optimize our mental energy, physical energy, emotional energy, and be as productive and energized as we can be. Rest and work are two sides of the same coin. We need both to have a coin of high performance, optimal living, right? So yeah, thank you for talking and just chilling with me here. I hope you enjoyed watching this video. If you did, please consider subscribing to my channel and checking out my other videos. I would truly appreciate it. Thank you so much. And please let me know what you think. If you have any topic ideas, if you want me to talk about a certain topic, please let me know down in the comments. And yeah, that'll be all for today. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Thank you. Take care. Bye.